Hello and welcome to Bags of Action. My name is Pete and this is a 5-minute Bags of Action review of Tag from 2018. A small group of former classmates organised an elaborate annual game of tag that requires some to travel all over the country. This crazy premise is directed by Jeff Tomsic, who has a background in TV comedy and stand-up, and has also worked on TV series The Detour and TV movie Good Life. It was written by Rob McKittrick, who wrote Waiting and Still Waiting, and Mark Steelan, who worked on TV shows The Divorce, the US version of Shameless, and Madam Secretary, amongst others. It's got a stellar cast. It's got Jeremy Renner is in Tag from Avengers, of course, and the Mission Impossible movies. John Hamm from Baby Driver, Richard Jewell, and of course Mad Men. Ed Helms, who I knew best from the Hangover movies, also from Coffee and Kareem and Vacation. Jake Johnson, who was in TV show Stumptown and has also been in things like The Mummy, the most recent Mummy, and Jurassic World as well. And Hannibal Buress from Slice, Spider-Man Homecoming and Baywatch. So they're the 5 friends, basically. They were schoolmates growing up and they continue playing this game of tag into their 40s. I didn't quite buy them all as being the same age, and I did a little bit of, I kind of looked that up, and there is about a 12-year age range between them, but you've got to kind of put that to one side watching this, particularly if you're watching it in HD or higher. But, it's a good cast, and alongside them, you've got some very strong support. Who else is in Tag? Isla Fisher, who I remember from Neighbours back in the day, also from films like Wedding Crashers, Greed and Godmothered. Annabelle Wallis, Star Trek Discovery, Peaky Blinders, The Mummy, King Arthur Legend of the Sword. You've got Nora Dunn from Three Kings, Pineapple Express and Entourage. Steve Berg from The Good Place, and someone I remember very well from Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. Leslie Bibb, who was in all the Iron Man movies and was also in Running with the Devil. And Rashida Jones from I Love You Man and Cuban Fury. So as you can tell from that cast, this is an action comedy, and it's actually based on a true story. And its origin, which is referenced in the film, was actually a Wall Street Journal article. Once you know it's true, I think you lean into it better. At first I was like, this seems ridiculous, a film about these guys playing tag every May and taking it super, super seriously. But I think knowing that it's based on something true does help. But it also, there's so much humour to be had in this, and they obviously lean into that being an action comedy. So I went into this film knowing very little about it, and that actually helped. So as always on the show, I'll be avoiding spoilers as much as I can, but you may want to go and watch it and come back just in case. So this is best described, I guess, as a romp. It's never quite laugh out loud funny, but there are some really good slapstick moments, and it also does some clever parodies of movie tropes as well. And that kept me smiling at the very least throughout the movie. The central relationships between the 5 guys who've grown up together, or not grown up, which is kind of the central theme, all about playing games to keep us young, makes this entertaining from start to finish. I may not have bought the age range, but I did buy the fact that these guys were really close friends. The casting overall is really good. The fact that there's such an ensemble, there's not just the 5 guys, there's about another 6 or 7 characters around them, that does make things stretched a bit thin, and some characters kind of don't get enough screen time as a result, or they don't really get fleshed out. But the action is really strong, and it's really well put together, and you do buy it. Even though it is played for laughs, it's really well put together. If you want something that's quite light most of the time and funny with the occasional dick joke thrown in, this is well worth your time. So back in the day, I think we had action comedies that were action films first and comedy second. I'm thinking of things like Beverly Hills Cop and Midnight Run. The modern take on the genre seems to have flipped that hierarchy and made comedy films with an action layer over the top, if that makes sense. And this reminded me of another film that's like that, Game Night. I don't think it quite reached the heights of that movie, and I highly recommend that one. I think it's mainly due to the characters here being a little bit too one-dimensional, and particularly, as I say, there's such a big cast. People like John Hamm and Annabelle Wallis, they're almost wasted in their roles with very little to do. The high points for me, I think, were when they lent into Jeremy Renner's Scream background and used kind of his Hawkeye, Mission Impossible and Bourne background to make his character slightly different from the others. There's also a homage in here, again I won't spoil, to probably my favourite action movie of all time, which that always helps. And you do get to see the real tag team in some footage at the end, which is well worth sticking around for. So it's a little bit hit and miss, but I did enjoy it. It's definitely a distracting kind of hour and 40 minutes of my time. So I'm going to give Tag 3 bags of action out of 5. It's certainly solid and it's well worth looking at, but it's not going to change your world. Have you seen Tag? Do you agree with my assessment of it? Feel free to comment below, or you can get in touch with us via email, Facebook, or on Twitter. We have new episodes coming out weekly, including our full-length podcast. And don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell for notifications so you never miss an episode. Bags of Action will always be free, but if you'd like to buy us a coffee, you can do that at our Ko-fi page.